Shalom, shalom. Brother Donal here,
Azrael.
coming back again with a Think About It Thursday. The title of this video is going to be A Trip to Disney, right? Giving y'all something to think about, right? Um, First and foremost, we give all honor and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We do so by way of His Son, who was an instrument of salvation for our nation, the nation of Israel, right? And today is Think About It Thursday, so let's do our job. Give y'all something to think about. This is entitled A Trip to Disney, right? And we're just gonna read something, man, about anybody's trip to Disney World. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna try to make that experience come to life spiritually, right? Let's start out with this passage in Matthew first, though. Con, this is you can go ahead and read if you want to.
The book of Matthew, chapter 25, and verse 1. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom.
Con, man, right? So right now we're about to read the parable of the 10 virgins, right? This video won't be too precept heavy, man, but it's just gonna give you guys something to visualize, right? And so it starts off with 10 virgins, right? Keep reading.
And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish.
5 were wise and 5 were foolish, right? Let's see how they were foolish and how they were wise. Keep reading.
They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them.
Right. So you had 5 of them. They were foolish. They had their lamps, right, to give light, but they had no oil to keep that light burning, right. And so what can we say here? They were unprepared. They did not do what they had to do to sustain the wiles of time, right. Keep reading.
But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps.
Calm. But the wise, they took oil so they could endure into that precious time, right. Keep reading.
While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept.
Right. While the bridegroom tarry, meaning while you're waiting for the bridegroom to come, right? I.e., the kingdom of heaven, right? Because this is what this video is going to be tailored to, the kingdom of heaven. While you're waiting for the kingdom of heaven, right? Some are gonna are asleep. You know what I'm saying? I know in Psalms it says, "I will not give sleep to thine eyes," right? But being realistic, some people fall asleep, they slumber, and they kind of lose track of where they should be, in life in general. You know what I'm saying? Keep reading for me.
And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh.
Right.
Go
So out
ye.
of nowhere, the bridegroom shows up. Right. Out of nowhere, it's time to enter into the kingdom of heaven, i.e., right. Keep reading.
Go ye out to meet him.
It says, "Go ye out to meet him." Talking to the 10 virgins. What happens next?
Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps.
Right.
And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out.
Right. So the foolish, they were not prepared, right? They did not stand the wiles of time, and they're now asking for what we call handouts, right, from the wise virgins. You know what I'm saying? Give us some oils. This would be like equivalent to uh, uh, not buying a ticket to the basketball to an NBA game and thinking you're just gonna look up and get a ticket from somebody selling it outside the arena, right? Keep reading.
But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there
Right.
be not enough for us and you. But go ye rather to them that sell, and buy for yourselves.
Right, man. So the wise are like, nah, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm not finna give this precious thing up. You know what I'm saying? They they took the time, they prepared, and they were ready, right? They counted the costs, right? Before the time came, they got everything in order, right? And they were made sure that they were gonna be chosen to partake in whatever festivities that were going on with the bridegroom, i.e., in this context, the kingdom of heaven, right? Or Disney World. Keep reading.
And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut.
And the door was shut, right? Skip down to verse 18 for me. That's the point, I believe.
Verse 18. But he that had received one went.
Nah, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Scroll up. I think that was it. I think that was it. I think that's all I wanted. Which one that you just read? No, read 14. Read 14. No, that's not it. That's not it either. Which one you just read? Sorry, Salaki. Khan, read verse 10 one more time. That's the point.
And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut.
And the door was shut. Nobody else could get in but them, right? Gonna share something with you guys, man. So we're gonna be comparing the kingdom of heaven to what people refer to as Disneyland, right? Or Disney World, the world of Disney. And when you go to Disney World, I find it funny because I find it funny because when you take a trip to Disney World, right? A lot of times it's with your family, on a vacation. When it comes to the kingdom of heaven, people always say, what about other people, right? We see the kingdom of heaven as our rest as the Israelites, right? Because we've been made to serve hard bondage. And so when we get that rest, only we can be saved from our enemies, right? Not everybody can be saved from their enemies, but the Israelites will be saved from their enemies, right? And all of them that hate them, which is everybody, as the Bible explains, right? And so when you look at it, Disney World, when you think about going to Disney World, it's typically a good thing. It's supposed to be fun. 9 times out of 10, though, it's planned by your parents. And when they tell you, right, that's just, it is what it is. The family's going. But it's almost like to say, if your parents were to say, yeah, we're going to Disney World, and you said, well, if so and so, if my best friend or my friend couldn't, if he can't go to Disney World, I don't want to go either, right? And to parallel that with the kingdom of heaven, a lot of people have an issue with the Israelites, right, being saved from their enemies and claiming that salvation that the Bible speaks of. In Luke chapter 1, it is to say, like, somebody's telling you we're getting saved from our enemies, and you're to tell your father or your mother, but I like my enemy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going. I don't want salvation if my enemy can't get it, right? And it's just not the case, right? Just think about if you were to tell your parents, nah, I don't want to go to Disney World unless Jimmy comes, right? They're gonna look at you crazy. Boy, it's a family vacation. You better bring your butt on, right? Because it's a good thing, right? Why would you turn down a good thing for somebody else that probably wouldn't do the same thing for you, right? And so we're gonna see this comparison really quick. Let's see. I'm gonna share my screen. You can remove that real quick. So the kingdom of heaven is likened unto Disney World. In Disney World, right? If you ever been to Disney World, right? At the end of the day, what do they have? What do they have going on? What's the festivities, brother Azrael?
Fireworks.
Fireworks, but where are the fireworks taking place at?
The castle.
The castle, right? And when you're looking at these fireworks, where are you standing? Typically,
in the courtyard.
In the courtyard, right? But not just the courtyard. I might have to blow that up, huh? Let me see. Are we live? Why not? There it goes. Well, it's pretty straight. Okay, let me blow it up a little bit. Okay. Yeah, so you're in the courtyard though, right? You're in the courtyard and you're looking at the fireworks. They look beautiful. Did it just go off the screen? What you doing, brother?
I was trying to go back to the original view.
I should be able to make it a little bit bigger. Hold up. Pages.
It looks straight on the screen.
Yeah, that's what I was seeing. And condense it. Just look. There we go.
We all had that friend where they might have stayed back or had a babysitter come, and then they meeting you to play basketball outside or play football in the front yard or hide and go seek. The big hide and go seek in the neighborhood. And you like, where your parents at? And they say they're on a cruise or they went to Disney World with my brother or Disney World with a family reunion or something. And you ask them, why didn't you go? I didn't want to miss the neighborhood hide and go seek. A lot of times, man, we lose sight of things that are truly important for something that's temporary pleasure, because that hide and go seek, man, is going to last all about one night, and you might have got to see the girl that you was crushing on or the guy you was crushing on in the neighborhood, or you might not have, but after that night, man, your parents and your family, they still gone to Disney World.
Making memories, man, right?
Making memories, and you're not there because you wanted to stay in the neighborhood.
Right. Remember, man, you have 5 foolish virgins and you got 5 that were wise, right? Like the brother was saying, man, that one that stayed back, man, that was the foolish one. And 9 times out of 10, when you stay back for something like that, it never goes as planned anyway. You know what I'm saying? You plan on playing hide and go seek or whatever. And then, all of a sudden the bottom falls out the sky and it starts to rain the whole day. And you sitting back wishing you would have went to Disney World with your family. Right.
Yeah, we all been there where we was that friend thinking our friend was tripping, like, what? We would be like,
what? Be here right now, bro. Why are you here?
What, bro? Bro, Disney World fun, bro. What? You didn't go on that cruise, bro? They got endless ice cream, bro. Why you here, bro? Right. Making them feel bad for choosing you.
Right, man. That's what I'm saying.
That's how the world's gonna be too. The world gonna make you feel bad for choosing the world at the end of the day.
Exactly, man. And not only that, man, just as being the Israelites, right? And when we go out and spread the gospel to the brokenhearted, to the people that are in prison, saying that the gospel is for them, right? They don't want it unless it involves somebody else, right? And this video is mainly an exhortation to let people know it's okay to have a sense of pride about the liberation and the restoration of your people, right? It's okay to get what's owed to you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, I think a brother said something. I watched the video. A brother said something very profound. He said, when you tell somebody that they're above and they're not beneath, and that salvation is for them and their people to be free from their enemies and all of this, right? And how they're the chosen people and all of that. A lot of people, they disregard it or they reject it, and they're ashamed of it, even though the scriptures say that, once we find out these things, we won't be ashamed. But what happens is, in the video, the brother I was watching, the brother explained it perfectly. He said, this is what happens when we see being above and not beneath, right? Or just being above and not even equal. What we see is the fact that our oppressor is above us right now, and they're handling it so nasty that we can't fathom being above, because we associate with our oppressors doing that, we would be doing the same thing. But we're not going to be doing the same thing when we're above, right? We're not going to be, buck breaking folks. We're not going to be taking nobody's wives. We're not going to be beating somebody till they die, right? We're not going to be, doing all those bad atrocities, shooting people down the street with no justice, all of that. That's not going to be us, right? So you got to understand, with us being above is actually better for the whole world, and that's what we try to explain to a lot of people, to get your mind out the gutter. But by the trauma that's been in our past, that's all we can see is being above is being the nastiest person, because that's who we have to look at right now. That's why we fight for equality and not to fight for rulership, right? But nothing is wrong with rulership, and that's what I'm saying. It's actually a natural thing, and it happens all over the world. I know 9 times out of 10, when we dive into this topic, we bring up the Buckingham Palace in England or London, right? And how you can't go into that palace unless you're blood, you know what I'm saying, or you a nutcracker, you know what I'm saying. But right now, we're gonna compare it to Disney because a lot of this goes on in Disney, right? And nobody bats an eye. Nobody cares, right? Everybody acts decent and in order, and they're okay with what they are given, right? Which is those fireworks outside of the castle. You know what I'm saying? And so the castle, right? I did some research. The castle is called Cinderella's Castle, right? And like the brother was saying, the cat when you go and you see these fireworks at the end of the day, right? You're standing outside of the castle, outside of the gates, and you're looking at the castle, and the fireworks are shooting up behind the castle or over the castle, right? If you could read that first part right there for me.
The only way to get inside Cinderella's castle at Disney World is to eat at Cinderella's royal table, visit the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, or win a stay in the castle's guest room.
Right. There's 3 things that you can do to actually get inside the Cinderella's castle, right? Um, and needless to say, right, we know how hard it is to even get to schedule tickets for Disney World, right? To get your hotel and everything and all of that stuff. This stuff takes prior preparation. But nonetheless, at its very elementary state, we see that it takes a VIP. You probably got to wear a lanyard with a badge on it and everything. A VIP, you got to be a VIP guest to get into the Cinderella's castle. I read something else, right? I couldn't find it for this video, but they said that to do any of these 3 things, what does it say? To visit the boutique, win a stay, right? Or what was the third one? Eat at Cinderella's royal table. For all of that stuff, right? Especially eating at Cinderella's royal table or visiting the boutique. These things they said that you have to schedule 66 at the very least 60 days before you even go. Right? 60 days. What's that? 3 months? 2 months? 2 months before you even go, you have to start preparing, right? And it's just like the kingdom of heaven, man. You're not going to be able to just walk into the kingdom of heaven, right? With no works, with no preparation. That's why we read the 10 virgins, right? You had 10 of them that were wise and they wanted to get inside Cinderella's castle, right? They wanted to sit at the table. And so they took the proper precautions, right? Precautionaries or whatever, right? To make that happen. They counted the costs, right? While you had 5 foolish virgins. And we see like people like this all the time when we go to Disney World. They want to go to Disney World, but they procrastinate and they don't do what they got to do. So they might look up and get a ticket, but when all their friends go eat at the Cinderella's castle, they can't, right? Because these things takes diligence, time, and prudence.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was like, man, when you was back in the church, right? Or if you was having a family reunion and there's always a committee or a point man, and they telling you, we're going to Disney World at so and so and so and so in so many months. You need to sign up for this package or blah 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 and give us your money to so and so and so and so. And there's always a church member or a family member or a friend or whatever that's lazy and doesn't think they're gonna go or don't know if they want to go, and then last minute they want to go, right? And now, they can't buy that certain ticket and they're left outside. They're left sitting at the bottom of the ride, right? And they're begging to try to get somebody's tickets or whatever, or see if they can, they taking, time out of the day because now the chaperones is trying to be up at the front, trying to see what they can do. And it's just not going to happen because they did not prepare for it. And now they experience what everybody else they were with experience. Because those 5 virgins, it wasn't just 5 virgins, it was 10 of them, right? So I'm led to believe they knew each other, and you're not going to get to experience what the other 5 did get to experience.
Because what it say after it said they went in and the door was shut. Ain't nobody else getting in, man. Right? If you didn't do what you had to do prior to that time coming, right? It's a wrap. It's the same thing for the kingdom of heaven as well, right? Being an Israelite is just a prerequisite, right? If you could read this second part right here.
Yeah. Cinderella's royal table is located on the second floor of the castle, and only guests with an advanced dining reservations are permitted there.
Only guess what hey man, your name got to be written, right? I was gonna share my screen and share these precepts, but I think I'm just gonna paraphrase them. I might call out the address and we're gonna roll with it like this as we dissect this, right? Revelation 21 and 12, right? Revelation 21 and 12. And well, before we even get there, can you pull up on your phone Revelations 14 and 1, right? Because we started out by painting the picture of what your day would look like at Disney World and what happens at the end and where you will be standing, right? As a commoner, right? You don't have to share your screen, but yeah, just read it.
Revelation chapter 14 and verse 1. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads.
It's 14 and 1. Come on, bro.
What are you looking for? 11 and 2?
I think so. Yeah. I don't know why I said 14 and 1. So like you disregard that precept.
11 and 2. Well, we'll start at 11 and 1. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein. Verse 2. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles.
It's okay, man, right? So we talk about the kingdom of heaven and getting into that kingdom, that castle, right? The temple, right? Outside of the temple is going to be the royal courts, and it's left out for the Gentiles. I'm bringing this up to let you guys know, man, it is okay that is left out for the Gentiles, bro. Don't feel sorry, right? And I'm saying this, and I'm not trying to be mean or you know, a butthole or anything. But what I'm saying is this, right? Keep in mind, keep that visual of going to Disney World. You're outside of those gates. You're outside of the castle, looking at them fireworks, right? You probably got some cotton candy or some ice cream in your hand. You having a good time, right? You might not be inside, but you still having a good time. And that's what I'm trying to paint the picture as. Even though we're going to be in rulership, even though he said that we were a chosen people, a peculiar people, right? That we were invited into his temple, right? The other people, they're going to have a good time as well, probably, more than likely, right? More than likely. They're probably going to be doing some work. We're probably going to be at rest, but nonetheless, it says what? When the wicked is in rulership, the whole world mourns, and when the righteous is in rulership, the whole world rejoices, right? So just like somebody would rejoice outside of them Disneyland gates, outside of the castle, outside of Cinderella's castle, right? Just like that would happen, the same thing would happen in the kingdom of God, right? In the kingdom of heaven, right? But read that second part for me one more time.
Cinderella's royal table is located on the second floor of the castle, and only guests with advanced dining reservations are permitted there.
Right, man. And so when you look at the guests that were permitted there, you go to Revelation 21 and 12, it's going to show you, you know, who these guests that are permitted, right? What it talks about their names written, all of that stuff, right? You pulling it up real quick? Go ahead and read Revelation 21 and 12 for me.
And had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel.
Of who?
The 12 tribes of the children of Israel.
Khan, man. These are the guests, right? The guests that are going to be invited. And so, and we explain this all the time, right? When you look at those 12 gates and you look at them 12 angels, we consider those to be the bouncers or the guards, the soldiers, right? And they're not letting nobody in, right? Unless you're one of the 12 tribes of Israel or a descendant, right? Just like the 10 virgins, once that door was shut, that door was shut. But it, like I said, it's okay because 9 times out of 10, I'm going on a limb to say the majority of folks have never been in Cinderella's castle, but they always have a good time when they go to Disney World, right? If you can get what I'm saying, you're picking up what I'm putting down, that the kingdom of heaven is still going to be a good time for everybody, right? Contrary to what people think we teach, contrary to some Israelites that have gone gung ho with the fact that people are, they're just gonna be super miserable like we were. It probably won't be. You know what I'm saying? They'll probably be happy to be there serving the Most High and His people. Just like you would be happy outside of them gates at Disney World, right? Let's see. Keep reading on that passage.
On the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, on the south 3 gates.
No, go back to the screen.
The entrance to the restaurant is on the back side of the castle, near Sir Mickey's after checking, and at the outdoor podium. You'll be escorted inside the castle and greeted by Cinderella in the grand hall. You can ascend a spiral staircase to the banquet room above, or use the gilded elevator.
God, man. So this is talking about how, the things that you're going to experience once you get inside, man. You're probably going to get escorted by some angels once you in there, and they're going to bring you to Yahweh Shai, or who the world calls Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying? And, these are things to look forward to, right? Let me share this next one. All right, let's go. To the advanced reservations are highly recommended. Start at that one for me. I think, yeah.
Advanced reservations are highly recommended. Some say it's hard to get into CRT for any meal, and
yes,
that
CRT being Cinderella's royal table.
Cinderella's royal table for any meal. And that if your dining reservation's date has passed, you can try an alert service. Dining Ferry is one service that charges a fee if they can make the reservation.
God, man, pretty much saying if you miss your reservation, bruh, it's a wrap. And that's why we read the 10 virgins. After that door was shut, it's a wrap, right? You can ask, like the brother started to explain already, right? They trying everything they can to get into them gates, man. Is there anything that you can do? X, Y, and Z, we came all this way, right? But just like the foolish virgins that, when he finally showed up and they didn't have any oil and they were begging to get some oil from the wise virgins, right? Just like them, man, there was nothing that could save them at that time, because when that time is up, when it's time to take the kingdom of heaven, man, that's what it is, right? Keep reading. Go ahead.
There is an elect number, right? We know that there's going to be many people in the kingdom. We know that also the Bible says that only few will make it. So the Bible's not double talking. It's just letting you know there's going to be many, but there's going to be few, meaning there's going to be a certain number, right? And if you're not part of that number, you can't just slide past the doors, because there's not going to be a place for you. He said, right? It says, in my Father's house are many mansions, but those mansions are numbered, right? Just like at Cinderella's table, you could try to get in if you passed your reservation, but If it's no longer your reservation no more, they don't have a seat at that table for you. So even if you do get in, there's nowhere to sit. So the same thing like in the kingdom of heaven. That's why we call ourselves the hopeful elect, hoping to be in that elect number, man, making our calling and our election sure so we can be a part of that number, right? Making sure that we have oil in our lamps.
Con, read the next paragraph for me.
You can also access the castle on either side of the arch, going from Fantasyland to the Main Street hub. As you walk through, you'll see mosaics depicting Cinderella's story and the Magic Kingdom location of Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique.
Right, man. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at this, man, those multiple doors, we know there's only one way to the kingdom of heaven, but those multiple doors are just all the opportunities that you had in your lifetime that you passed by, right? Right, all the doors that were open for you that you didn't take advantage of, right? And then when you look at stuff like walking through and seeing the history of Cinderella, it's the people that's actually going to be in there, right? They're going to have a sense of care for the history of Cinderella, right? You know what I'm saying? It's probably going to be fascinating to them. The same thing for the kingdom of heaven, right? This book, this Bible, is our history book, right? Those that will be in the kingdom of heaven will have an appreciation for this history book, right? You're not just gonna go in there free willy nilly if all your life all you worried about was your business adventures and stuff like that, all the stuff that Solomon calls vanity, right? The main goal is this history book right here, and that's what's gonna be that's what the kingdom is going to be all about. That's what all the talk is going to be all about. We're going to be praising the Lord 24/7. If you have a hard time praising the Lord, if you have a hard time reading, right, you need to evaluate where you think you want to go, right? Just like this, man, all these things are set up in Cinderella's castle for those that have an appreciation for it, right?
I seen a video on social media of somebody saying, all y'all talking as soon as and I'm paraphrasing the video I saw, but it was to the effect of, as soon as people hear gospel music, turn that off. I ain't trying to hear that right now. Or as soon as somebody say, uh, let's fast, or as soon as somebody say, um, anything regarding giving God praise, it's always put off and it doesn't seem cool, right? But like the brother Denal said, you got to reevaluate yourself, because that's all we're going to be doing in the kingdom, right? And if you're saying that you don't like gospel music, you don't like praising God, if you don't like praying, if you don't like doing the little things, you don't like reading your Bible, you don't like all that, you're telling God that you don't like Disney World. You might be into Nickelodeon, brother, sister, but you don't need to be at Disney World, because you don't like nothing to do with Disney World. You don't like Goofy, you don't like Cinderella, you don't like Snow White, you don't like none of them, but you want to go to Disney World. It doesn't make sense. So guess what? They're not gonna let you in. The Most High is not gonna let you in if you already telling them, nah, I don't like gospel music.
Right. You telling him you love him, right? But at the same time, man, you want to be down with Jimmy Neutron, right? Everybody knows Jimmy Neutron was on Nickelodeon, bro. One thing about it, you're not gonna be able to get into Disney World and have an appreciate unless you have, or Cinderella's Castle, if you don't have appreciation for real for what's the name. One, you're just not gonna enjoy it. Two, right? That's borderline disrespectful. That goes for people that have things that go against the first commandment. Thou shalt not have any gods before me, right? You get into the kingdom of heaven and you try to bring along Omega Psi Phi. You try to bring along Alpha Phi Alpha, right? You know what I'm saying? Understand and know where you're going or where you want to go, and understand what's going to be happening there and what's not going to be happening there, right? But Con, you read that third paragraph for me.
You can also win a stay in the Cinderella Castle suite, which has 4-karat gold molding.
Right, man. It says 4 karat gold molding, right? The I think in Revelation it says, man, eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard, all that is prepared for us, right? It might not be in Revelation, but nonetheless, we all know that scripture, 4 karat gold molding, right? Have you ever looked in your house or if in your apartment and it had crown molding, right? That's that 4 karat gold molding. That's crazy, right? But I want to point out something too. It says you can also win a stay at the center of it. So there's a bunch of parables. One that comes to mind is everybody's gonna get the same penny, right? Whether you came in this thing late or you came right in the nick of time, right? And so when I look at this, man, this comes the mercy, right? This comes the grace, right? When you can win a stay. You might not have been in it your whole life, but you're getting it right so you can receive that mercy and win a stay. Some people might have labored for it, but you might be able to win a stay, right? Keep reading.
4 karat gold molding, a 200-year-old writing desk.
A 200-year-old writing desk, man. The Ark of the Covenant probably gonna be in there, man. That's thousands of years old. You know what I'm saying? Keep reading.
And stained glass scenes from the Cinderella fairy tale.
Man, there's gonna be stories, and you might meet the actual spirits and people that have all these marvelous stories that you read about in our history book, right? Keep reading.
Disney occasionally has contests and auctions to raise money for the suite.
Contests and auctions, right? There go that mercy and that grace again. You know what I'm saying? That's also where that faith and that belief comes in too, right? Because to get into a contest or a raffle or anything, you got to have some of that what people call hope. You know what I'm saying? I know I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I know I missed the deadline, but I hope I can get in, right? That's where that hope comes from, where you can win a stay, you can win a seat at the table, right? You know what I'm saying? But you still once you realize you want to get your life back on track, you still have to do something too. Something's still required of you. You still got to take the proper measurements to enter the raffle, right? Even though it's last minute, to give you that hope. So even with hope comes work, right? There's things we have to do to even get to even receive hope or grace and mercy, right? Keep reading.
And sometimes an entry in the contest is affordable.
Right. And sometimes an entry in the contest is affordable, right? And so sometimes you can slither, you can not, I'm not gonna say slither, but sometimes you'll find that the Most High is gracious enough to allow you to make it in because He see the sincerity of your heart and your heart posture and that you want to change, right? And so told you guys it wouldn't be long, man. Just something to think about. I want to end you guys off with one precept if the brother doesn't have one as well. But if you can go to Joel 2:27, I want to drive this point home, right? Of the kingdom of heaven being like Disney. There's one point in this whole lesson that I want you guys, especially the Israelites, to understand, right? And know and be okay with. You can share your screen too if you need to.
You said John what in 20?
Joel 2:27. Con. You just take it off the screen.
My computer is acting slow.
Joel 2:27 will end on this.
The book of Joel, chapter 2:27. And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord your God, and none else. And my people shall never be ashamed.
Understand and know, man, that Disney World, that Cinderella's castle is made for you, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and those that are scattered abroad, right? That are getting mistreated. That your salvation is nigh, right? That you will be saved from your enemies, and it doesn't mean that evil or bad happenings will happen to our enemies, right? But they will understand and know who we are and our position in their position, right? And one thing I want to like harp on is that this is not something for you to be ashamed of, right? If anything, the state that you are in right now, you should be ashamed. How our people have no interest for the laws of God, how our people have no interest in what He wants us to do, right? What He cares about, right? And that we're downtrodden. If anything, in the position right now, we should be ashamed. We shouldn't be ashamed of that which is to come. But then again, man, that just goes to show you that we go out and teach people that oppose themselves and don't even know it. But this video is mainly to show you guys and give you a visual of what the kingdom is going to look like. And it's not going to be all bad for anybody. Again, remember we said, or that the Lord said that when the wicked rule, the whole earth mourns, but when the righteous is in rulership, the whole earth rejoices, right? So don't take this as, oh man, what about so-called white man? What about the so-called Asian man, the African man, right? Take this as the earth being restored back to its rightfully and fixed system, right? And that you should not be ashamed of this coming to pass, right? One, because it will come to pass, and two, it will be the best thing that ever happened for the planet Earth, so to speak, right? But I'm Brother Donal.
Brother Azrael.
And it's been another Think About It Thursday. Remember, if you ain't gathering, you're scattering. We are the hopeful elect. It's our heart's prayer and desire, man, that all of Israel comes on into this truth, to this knowledge, keeps these laws, statutes, commandments, and not be ashamed. Without further ado, we give all honor and glory to the Most High, right, by way of His Son, who is an instrument of salvation for the nation, who the world inwardly calls Jesus Christ. And we say Shalom.